am I the a-hole for not letting my fiance's best friend be in our wedding?
Best friend? We got to have more context because that seems aggressive.
Well, Diligent Mix 150 says, I, 26 male, proposed to 24 female, my girlfriend of 6 years last month. Congrats. She obviously said yes, and we've been working on the wedding details, like save the dates, invitations, venues, caterers, etc., ever since. We got to talking about who we would want in our wedding because she wanted to do a special proposal to her side of the wedding court. And she said she wanted to have her best friend since childhood be her maid of honor. Maid in quotes.
Okay.
Interestingly. The thing is, her childhood best friend is a guy. 24.
Uh-oh.
A man?
A man?
How can a man be a maid of honor?
Women can't be friends with man.
Gasp! My pearls! I'm clutching them! They lived on the same street when they were kids and have been friends since. My fiance and I met in college, and her friend was there too, so I've known him for as long as I've known her. At first, I didn't really like him because he was always hanging around her. But after she and I started dating and I was forced to be around him more, I kind of started to tolerate him.
OP is jealous.
Yeah. I also like
Is there a reason to be? Is there, is the friend overstepping boundaries? I guess we'll see.
it could be. I also like how OP was like, but after I got to spend some time with him, I tolerated him.
Yeah. OP's not pulling any punches.
Yeah. So, he and my fiance saw each other a lot, but he and I have never really hung out one-on-one before. One time when we were left alone together, he tried to get all tough and did the, if you ever break her heart, I swear, corny threat kind of talk.
That's cringy,
If
dude.
any of you guys do that, I'll be mad.
Get
wait, what do you
ready.
mean? I've done it to every boy that's asked you out.
What?
Yeah, if you hurt my sister.
And now I'm here as the backup, like,
Yeah.
yeah. He is a small dude, so it made me laugh more than intimidate me. After that, I got the feeling this was a situation where he liked her, but she didn't know. With zero context, everyone watching right now, do you think that's the case?
I think it could be, but I think I need more context. Although that whole if you ever hurt her is definitely a vote towards that being the conclusion.
I have a suspicion that
My
is-
suspicions are raised, but I think that's not conclusive evidence.
Caro says, my best friend since the childhood wasn't a man when we started our friendship. So does that count? Can it be my man of honor? I mean, I guess it is your wedding, so you can kind of choose whatever the frick you want.
Yeah.
But-
Wormy says, I feel like that talk is normal for friends to say. I think it's whack.
Yeah.
Unless it's like told jokingly.
I don't think it's a red flag, but I think it's just like I don't think I would say that.
I asked my fiance if she and him have ever had feelings for each other, and she said no.
No.
All is good. Then let me know that he was gay.
Oh.
So
what's the issue here?
we should be good, right? I'm not homophobic or anything.
Oh God.
Said all not homophobic people ever.
Famous last words. So it's not like that I don't want him in the wedding because of that. It's just that I think it would be better if her side of the party was all girls. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Who literally cares?
Your wedding can be literally anything you want.
If you want to bobsled down the aisle wearing a red dress of flames flying into a cake, who cares?
My friend went to a wedding that was a Burning Man wedding, and there was a Thunderdome where everyone attacked each other with swords, and the wedding cake was cut with a authentic samurai sword from like the 1600s.
I want a Lord of the Rings sword for my wedding.
Everyone should be allowed to do what they want for the wedding. That doesn't mean the people will necessarily enjoy it or like be down with it necessarily, but you love them.
Yeah.
You love them, so you go and you put on your elf ears and you put on your Mad
And you
Max
go with the
outfits
flow.
and you go in the Thunderdome.
I think we're getting a little stink.
Mhm.
Smelling a little stink.
I'm smelling it.
I'm smelling stink.
She and him already did everything together. Not including him in our wedding wouldn't hurt their friendship. It's getting worse.
It's her best friend, you dingbat.
He's literally gay.
It's like I would understand if like he was straight and he was insecure and had feelings and was acting on them.
Yes.
If that was true, then I would be like, oh, I feel a little uncomfortable. Like or at least I could understand that. But you're not walking on any concrete evidence here.
Literally. What are we doing?
He's doing dumb things. He's a big old dummy.
And also that last sentence of like, I mean, they're already best friends, so if he's not in the wedding, it's no big deal. It would be like, it is a big deal. It's a huge deal, and the fact that you can't see that or respect your fiance's wishes is
Pre-divorce.
But back to the story. I told her that, and lo and behold, she got defensive. Wouldn't you know it?
Oh, defensive. How dare she?
Oh, wait a second.
How dare she?
Get ready for this, Sam. Is your seatbelt buckled? Unlike Riley, get ready.
Oh, yeah, Riley never buckles his seatbelt.
It's true.
It's a problem.
Taking shots. He's back in the room.
Yeah.
I told her, and she got defensive, saying that if I could have a girl on my side of the party, the girl being my older sister who practically raised me, she could have a guy. OP is literally doing the same thing.
And because his reason is like, I'm not homophobic. I don't think he's going to make a move on you. I just think it's weird to have a guy on the
girls' bridal party. You have a girl in your groom's party. At least if you're going to be an idiot, at least be a consistent idiot.
Yeah. I love a consistent idiot. Or I'd rather have a consistent idiot than a hypocrite.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
All right.
This is Florida, gosh darn.
But I said that it was a different circumstance and that I wouldn't allow her best friend to be her man of honor.
This is not up for debate. You are barred. Also, welcome to a little taste of what being married to me will be like.
What?
You are just barred from doing anything. Like, OP's given a little taste.
I thought you were saying this is what it's like being married to you, Samuel Don. I'm like,
that's what I thought too. I was like, oh.
I was so confused.
No, I'm saying him.
Also, here's a little taste of what it's like to be married to this guy.
If you want a little teaser trailer to be married to this guy right here, just check this story out.
Call 1-800, my number. I'll pick up.
But getting back to it, she got really mad and said it was her wedding too.
Dude, honestly, what is she thinking?
Insane. What a control freak.
Yeah, exactly.
What a freaking classic bridezilla over here.
Hashtag bridezilla.
Hashtag bridezilla over here. I'm getting married to a bridezilla.
You guys couldn't believe what I'm dealing with over here.
She got really mad, said it was her wedding too, and then stormed out. I got a text from her sister a few hours later saying she had gone to her parents and told them what I had said. Good! They thought I was being an a-hole because I never liked her friend and am threatened by him. I have tried to talk to my fiancée since she left, but she hasn't returned my calls or texts. I really love her and I don't want to lose her. I just don't want her best friend to be part of our day. Am I the a-hole? And we have an edit and other things coming up. But guys, what do we think here?
Okay. My question is, did OP reread what he wrote? Because this is so obvious that he's the a-hole. And it always baffles me when someone writes something like, am I the a-hole? And it's just so clear that they are the a-hole. And in writing it, they didn't figure it out themselves.
Right? They're like, yeah, he's gay and he's never had any interest, and I have
but I just don't like him. Yeah, I feel like
I just don't like him.
Yeah, fucking guy.
Yeah, he wrote that down and he's like, yeah, I am. I need to keep doing this,
Yeah.
I'm a martyr.
Keep going down this train of thought.
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that he has written this and stood by his opinion is enough to pre-divorce. I think this is what I'm predicting is happening.
To me.
Reddit's going to tear him apart. He's going to be like, oh, I realize I'm an idiot. But all of these things that he's saying are reflective of this ancient misogynist point of view where he's in control and things aren't up for debate. And I think this is a glimpse into what being married to him is going to be like. Not being married to me, being married to him. I think this is symbolic of what it's going to look like down the line. And for that reason, divorce.
100%. Interestingly, our members, by the way, are the ones who do these polls on these episodes. Only 84% on divorce.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought it would be more.
Yeah,
Members.
84%. I think divorce. But question, another poll. Do you think he's going to realize the error of his ways? I think he is.
I think he is just because it's so crazy. I haven't read the edit, but I just kind of he's listing some points out. Bro, it does look like Bro is fighting for his life, but I have hope. I have hope. Brozilla from skull emoji.
Skull,
Honestly,
skull.
we need to make I feel like if this show made Brozilla a thing, that would be incredible.
Brozilla is great.
Brozilla is fantastic.
Yeah.
Skull emoji,
Thank
who are
you.
you? Because that's
You're
great.
giving us brilliant
Who are
ideas.
Yeah,
Who are you?
Who are you? But we have an edit, ladies and gentlemen. It's come to my attention in a previous comment I made. I have created the world's thinnest argument. Is OP realizing the error of their ways? Let's find out. I said that my fiance was unwilling to compromise on things such as the groomsmen's neck pieces and blazers. And as such, I was in the right to be unwilling to compromise about her best friend.
That's completely different.
One of these things, it's not like the other, my friend. I stated in a few other posts that there were other things she didn't want to compromise on, and someone suggested I make a list, so here it is.
He's just going to look worse. This edit, oh man, he's not getting it yet. He's still not getting it. I'm hopeful that there's another update. This is just an edit.
This is a very sad, oh God.
Oh man.
Number 1, when we were deciding our wedding date and location, she wanted to do it in spring in an open field. I wasn't on board with this, as I have terrible allergies, and spring is when it's at its worst.
Okay, to be fair.
That is, yes.
To be fair.
Yes.
I feel that.
I will give him some, because it could have been like, hey, could we do it in a different season or like a different location where there isn't as many allergens or something. That's fair. She shot down any alternative I gave, alternatives being things done closer to summer or in summer, which is fair, and said it was spring or nothing, so we went spring. Number 2, instead of going with a DJ like I suggested, who could play a mix of her favorite, my favorite, and general upbeat dance music, she said she really wanted a live band that specialized in her favorite genre. I asked if we could have a DJ. I asked if we could give the DJ a longer list of her songs in her favorite genre and tell him to pick from the list, but she said no and that a live band was going to be better, so we went with the live band.
To be fair, a live band is better than a DJ.
Live band is pretty freaking fire. I don't know, but I feel like someone in the band could maybe stay behind and after the performance just play other songs. That seems doable. Number 3, in my culture, there is a few traditional wedding ceremonies that I wanted us to partake in. Some included a kind of parade that leads the groom and his family to the bride's house where they present her and her family with gifts, a hair cutting ceremony. I made sure to tell her that her actual hair would not be cut. And finally, a knot tying ceremony where the guests wish us a long, happy marriage. Sounds kind of fun. She wanted absolutely nothing to do with these ceremonies and said that they would be too much time and effort since it would be like having 2 weddings. I tried fighting for these more than the others, but she was firm on doing things traditionally. Number 4, she wanted the groomsmen to wear bow ties and blazers, even though I wanted the look of the necktie and no blazer. Number 5, final one. She changed the color scheme from the original agreed upon black, gold, maroon, and forest green to pink, or I think it was rose, yellow, white, and pastel blue, because the decorations would look better in the field. When I said we already printed invitations with the previous colors on them, she said we could throw these out and get reprints. We have some relevant comments, but I want to talk to Sam, Sophia, and Riley in our relevant comments here with a question. Do we think they're both kind of being the a-hole, but maybe OP is more heavily
Yeah,
the
so
a-hole?
I think the one that stuck out to me where she was the biggest a-hole is not letting him have some of his culture's wedding ceremonies.
Yeah.
That feels pretty harsh.
Pinky to Slayer said that as well.
Yeah, I feel like
In the
that is an a-hole move, but I think everyone's an a-hole.
I
there.
think, yeah.
I think
That's true.
everyone's an a-hole.
They're perfect for each other.
But to be yeah, right. To add some nuance to this, I feel like his stuff is even more egregious, and he's trying to use all of this as a bargaining chip to be I should be allowed to get some of my crazy asks because she's being crazy. Not to excuse her at all.
I
any
don't know.
way.
I feel like not allowing you to participate in your culture's wedding
That is very
ceremonies,
egregious.
I feel is near the best friend thing, because that's essentially saying you cannot present your culture in front of me or your family, which is kind of stamping out your identity in the same way banning a friend that's very important to you would be.
You, sir, just made a fire-ass point.
I still think the OP is a little bit worse, but I think like they're more equal a-holes. Still, my thing stands. Pre-divorce.
Or hear me out here.
All right.
Take a seat, ladies and gentlemen. Are they so crazy that they're perfect for each other? Meaning, you find someone who you know matches is a match for you.
They are a match in a-holeness for sure.
And like, if they go out, are they just gonna?
And who are we to stop love?
Who are we to stop love? Are they just gonna go make the rounds, date partner after partner after partner, only to every single time be like, oh, they're an a-hole. They obviously don't get together.
They should marry, because then they're both taken off the market.
Exactly.
You
That's what I'm saying.
minimize the damage. And also, they're kind of on the same level. So I actually think get married.
Can we pull this?
Yeah, get married or pre-divorce.
Yeah, married, and it's like get married to basically like
to contain. It's a containment.
To contain themselves, and also like maybe low key there really is no one else other than
that
this
would
like archetype
tolerate them.
that would tolerate them.
This is a pull with a twist.
I feel like this is a pretty interesting curveball here.
It's a curveball.
One that we don't use. Usually they're pretty cut and dry, but this.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
All right. Get married
It's starting.
versus pre-divorce. It is starting.
We'll see. The results are coming in.
Is there more to this story?
Oh, there is more, my friend.
Okay.
There is more.
Let's go after it.
So, relevant comments. Panic Bread says, you're the a-hole. It's obvious that you have a huge chip on your shoulder about your fiance's best friend just because he's a guy. So you're now using the girls only thing to get him out of the way. Also, girls, you're not in high school going to prom. You're getting married. They're women. You're sexist and jealous and seem way too immature to be getting married. I hope she sees you for what you are and gets away from you, which kind of excuses the bride.
Well, it could be that he didn't see the edit. The edit may have came later.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Opie says, the difference is I'd be having legitimate family in my party. Someone who, like I said, has practically raised me and has been there since birth, who I want to be by my side. This is literally her childhood best friend. So this is your argument is null and void. I know you can argue that her and her best friend are technically family with how long they've known each other, but that doesn't actually make them family. Cheerily Terrified says, I really love her and I don't want to lose her. I just don't want her best friend to be part of our day.
Oh man, he's really buckling down.
Yeah. Oh, that was quoting what he said earlier.
Okay.
So Cheerily Terrified responds to that quote. You only get to say that if her best friend has done something bad, like stole money from you or took a crap in the middle of the floor of the engagement party. Your only reason for not wanting him there is that he's a guy and you are jealous. That's not enough of a good reason, especially when you're having a woman in your wedding party.
Yep.
You're going to lose her because you want to be unhappy and have someone she loves excluding you from her wedding for selfish reasons. You're the a-hole, and I'm thinking more and more this was before the edit, but
yeah, I think so too.
OP responds, why would I be jealous of him? I'm the one she came home to every night and the one she agreed to marry, giving more insecure energy.
Paying her on the daily. Why would I be jealous?
Guess who she comes home to, pal? This guy.
30 seconds of greatness, buddy.
That's right. The woman I'm having in my party is my biological sister, someone who I share a natural deep bond with. It's not like I said he can't come to the wedding period, which you like basically did earlier. Like, what are we talking about? Songs of Insanity says, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, but the more I read, the more confident I became of my opinion. You're the a-hole. No matter how I read this, you came off as someone threatened by the fact that your fiance has a close, lifelong relationship with a man who has never had romantic feelings for her, gay or not, who, by your own admission, you don't even find physically threatening. So what is there to be threatened by? Simple Status 15 says, he gets worse with every response. A-hole. OP responds to that. I'm not threatened by him. Once again, just this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Welcome to Brooklandia says, sure, Jan. Is that from The Office or something?
No, I think it's a Brady Bunch. I could be wrong with that.
And the overall judgment was you're the a-hole on this post. And the overall judgment on our poll right now is about 75-76%
Divorce. All right, so you want this dirt bag to be released into the wild once again.
Wreaking havoc amongst the poor single folks out there just trying to find their love. What? Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this poll, but not the end of the story. Oh, go ahead, Riley.
Okay.
Producer
Riley.
question for Sam. When it comes
this is gonna be a terrible question.
When it comes to new rules in relationships, if a couple is about to get married and they write Reddit post, should they read it, like be known, hey, I made a Reddit post about this, you need to read this, so they kind of get a good vibe of the person?
So do I think that all Reddit posts someone makes should be put into evidence before getting married? So like you propose and they're like, hey, excited to get married for you. You have to read all my Reddit posts first.
No, well, maybe not all Reddit posts, but like something this big.
Like read this post,
like scandalous, almost like a company might go read through all your texts.
Background check.
Yeah, background check. There we go. That's a better example.
I think it would be helpful.
It would be a very interesting insight to
my future wife. If you want to marry me, you have to watch every episode of OK Storytime.
10,000 hours of content. You have to sit there and listen to it straight for however long 10,000 hours is. You have to do that.
Maybe my future wife is watching right now.
It is highly possible. But guys,
we hope.
We have more of the story.
We got an update.
I think that's where we were at. So I, 24 female. Oh, wait a second.
Oh,
you know what time it is?
This is reverse time.
The other side of the coin. So we are now going to read from the perspective of the bride.
These are literally my favorite.
This
feels like a Christmas miracle.
Sophia has outdone herself yet again.
Shout
out,
Sophia, for finding this story.
W's in the chat.
Worm Queen.
That's right. All right. So, from the bride's perspective, I, 24 female, was recently engaged to my 26 male fiance after 6 years together.
Recently engaged. Okay.
We got into a fight a couple of days ago because he wouldn't let me ask my guy best friend, 24 male, who I've known since we were kids, to be my man of honor. I ended up walking out and went to stay with my parents for a few days. I told them what happened and they agreed that he was way out of line. I went back earlier today after I thought he had enough time to calm down, and when I came home, he looked like he was glad to see me.
Okay.
He apologized for stepping out of line, and I said it was fine and that we still had time to ask my friend to be in the wedding. He kind of looked down and said that we should just call everything off. The whole wedding, call it off.
Oh my goodness.
I wasn't expecting that. Oh my God. This really surprised me, and I immediately said, no.
No, like
Nope.
We're not calling it off?
No.
I am forcing you to marry me. Why are you grabbing on to this prolapsed anus of a man?
I think I hate everyone in this story.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
doesn't make
beginning
sense.
to feel. That's what I'm beginning to feel. He then admitted while I was gone that he had posted to Am I the A-hole about what had happened, and that even though he was deemed the controlling a-hole, he also realized I was one because basically I was hijacking the wedding planning. I asked how he could think that, and he pointed out how I chose to have the wedding in spring even though that's a bad time for him, and that I changed up the wedding color scheme and what his groomsmen would be wearing without talking to him first. I said that those were practically minor things and we didn't have to call off the wedding for it.
That's true. Those are the minor things, but it's the cultural thing though.
The cultural thing is the big thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, which it kind of feels like the bride is omitting.
Yeah. Bethany says she doesn't respect his culture. I would call it off too.
Then he said I was insensitive for rejecting his culture's traditions,
There it goes.
traditional wedding ceremonies, and didn't even consider doing them. He had brought to my attention some traditional ceremonies people do at weddings in his culture, and while I appreciated him bringing it up to me, I decided against doing it because it wouldn't fit the vibe of the traditional wedding I wanted.
So in other words, you were hijacking the wedding planning.
Yeah, I don't like that. I do not
They're
like that.
perfect
The
for each
traditional
other.
wedding.
They're perfect.
I told him I only wanted to do a traditional American wedding, and that he had already agreed with me that that's what we were doing.
This is not a democracy. This is my way or the highway.
We're doing that, right, baby? All right? Like,
you only need one
freaking
person's
agree?
consent to get married, right? If she just says, you're getting married to me, it just happens, right?
I love an American wedding. We're going to do that. And you agree. Thank you.
This scares me. John is scaring me.
But then he said that me having my guy best friend be my best man was untraditional.
He got a point.
I will give that to him.
He got a
if she's
point.
going to make that argument,
Yeah.
I will give him that round.
That jab.
That jab. Thank
Yeah.
you to the assist there. I pointed out I let him have his sister be a part of the wedding party because he wanted to have some of his family included. And that since he was
Yeah, I wanted his whole family not
I
included.
let him have his family in the party.
Great point,
Yeah.
Sophia.
And that since he was breaking the tradition, so could I. He got really sad and looked like he was about to cry and said that me breaking the tradition was like a slap in the face after I rejected his traditions and that I just didn't respect his culture at all. That is not the case at all. I greatly respect his culture.
Great, then have it in your wedding.
I told him I understood how mean it sounded, but it's my wedding too, so I get a say in what we do. And by a say, I mean the say. He kind of laughed and got up and said he wanted to take a break and left. I don't know what to do. I don't want to call off the wedding at all. I tried to find his Reddit post, but I think he was using a throwaway. Though granted, I am too. I love him so much and I want to be with him for the rest of our lives. I don't know how we'll get through this.
I don't think you should.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go
you
back
should
with
not
chat
get
on
through
this
it.
one. It was fun to play our little hypothetical of keeping them out of
Yeah.
harassing
the rest of the
poor
world.
single people looking for love. But
I think they need to break
this
it
is
off.
two nuclear bombs joining into one mega bomb. That's
Yeah,
what's
maybe
happening
they
right
would
now.
cause more havoc being together.
That's true.
Also, think of the children.
So we got some relevant comments. Just a 7 says, "Sounds like you are controlling, and you brushed off his complaints as no big deal. If the date, groomsman outfit, and color scheme are minor details, then they shouldn't have been changed. Disregarding his family's traditions is a major detail, and if you are willing to disregard them for a wedding, how does he know you won't do it for other events?
Yeah.
The wedding is one day. If you don't let him have a say in it, he's right to take a break and reconsider." Mysterious Permit says, "I guess he thinks now that it's his wedding too, so he should get a say in what they do. How delulu of him." I don't remember that.
No,
Being a quote.
it's a joke.
Oh, okay. I thought
It's like, oh my God,
Sarcasm.
he's saying it's his wedding too. How delulu of him.
They formatted it confusingly. I thought it was a quote. But Opie the bride responds, "I understand where you're coming from. I'll be honest and tell you that I haven't celebrated a lot of his cultural events besides New Year's. He's Cambodian and they celebrate their New Year's in April, I believe. He and his family had a falling out after he started dating me. His family didn't approve of a foreigner, and only recently have they reconnected. His sister, though, was different. She didn't care that I was American, and she stuck by his side as his only family member. I guess I disregarded the traditions in the first place because he never immersed me in his culture enough because he kind of cut ties with that side of himself.
I feel like you should be taking up some of that. You should be like actively trying to immerse yourself. He shouldn't have to do it for
And
you.
also, I think it's like I've had a couple friends that felt like they were culturally repressed, and then they want to dive back into it when they're a little bit older and really embrace it. And maybe that's what OP is trying to do now.
Exactly.
And that's like a really cool thing. And your partner should be supportive of that. And if they are not, they are the a-hole, which it seems like 80% of you agree that the fiance is more of the a-hole than the OP, which
That's
is the groom.
The groom
Yeah, the bride is worse than the groom. That's what the
is
people
what the
say.
poll's saying.
But it's quite the feat to make yourself seem like the a-hole after hearing the first OP story.
Yeah, I know.
Truly, it is. This is the a-hole Olympics. We are literally going for the gold medal of a-holes right now, ladies and gentlemen.
I just don't get it. I just don't want him to have his own wedding. I just don't get it. I just want it my way.
I was uncomfortable with the idea of being surrounded by his family that doesn't particularly like me during the ceremonies.
I don't get why he doesn't want to be with me. I just don't want to be around his family or his traditions or him.
I could say, just as a general thing, being surrounded by your partner's family that hates you, not a vibe. In general.
Fair.
As both his parents and my parents would be involved, I didn't want to feel like an outsider on our wedding day. So maybe that goes back to the comment before. She's like, oh, I let you have, like your sister as a family member in it.
Yeah.
30 Ninjas in my bag says he doesn't want to feel like an outsider at his wedding either. You're pretty selfish to disregard what he wants as it's his wedding too. You don't get to make all the decisions, then say it's minor. If it's so minor, then what's the problem with having them his way for his side of the wedding party? The wedding and marriage is for two people, not just the bride who has main character syndrome. Have you made the effort with his parents to get to know them, etc.? This could have been your chance to find out about his culture and family, but you chose not to. Is there such a thing as a traditional American wedding when a white dress was made popular by Queen Victoria as an English queen?
Bars.
I like that.
Bars.
Spit that. You sound controlling and petty, and now you get to live with the consequences of being demanding and brushing off his wants for the wedding. Elephants Gerald says, great username.
That's pretty good.
That's funny.
When I first started reading this, I was on your side, and by the end, not at all. It seems to me like he tried to veto your ideas the same way you vetoed his. Honest question, why should he compromise his traditional values if you won't compromise your non-traditional ones? And Chicago K8 says, I think your ex is right. You haven't considered his preferences, and in fact, you minimize his requests by calling them practically minor and aren't respecting his cultural traditions. It sounds like you're more interested in a wedding than an actual relationship in a marriage.
Facts.
You just want a wedding.
And I bet you she's going to be like, but it was my dream wedding since it was a kid. And I wanted my fairy tale wedding.
It's what I wanted.
I want it. I want it right now.
OP, of course, I'm interested in the wedding. I've been dreaming of my own since I was a child. Honestly, the Reddit whisperer strikes again. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Dude, this guy is on fire today, ladies and gentlemen. Did he read ahead? The world may never know. You can roll it back and try to find for yourself. But I don't value it more than I value my relationship with him. We didn't get that far into the planning, but for our honeymoon, I was going to suggest going somewhere he and I have always talked about going to.
Yeah, but more emphasis on the I.
Yeah, like we always talked about it because I was always bringing it up. It was like so great. We were talking about it all the time. We would have eventually gotten to a place where more of his ideas would be accepted. Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually in our relationship, I would have let him do something.
Yeah, like when he's on his deathbed, he can choose the song he dies to.
Yeah. Wow.
But only if it's in my playlist.
So
but only if it's a live band, of course.
Yeah.
No DJ, please.
Oh my God. Just a bored lurker said, babes, you literally chose your wedding over your fiance. You broke up because of plans for the wedding. You broke up because you couldn't compromise on anything you wanted for anything he wanted. You chose the wedding over the marriage. Always struck rock and roll says, I read his post yesterday and yours today. You both suck.
Amen.
I think he would have put up with the stink about your male best friend being in your party if you hadn't have been so controlling, but that's mute because you're incredibly controlling and don't understand or care. You are selfish and self-centered. You seem to think only your tastes and desires matter for the wedding, forgetting that your groom is a person and not just a prop at your wedding. The fact that you even say, let him include his sister is grounds to break up with you, in my opinion.
Beautiful.
Neither of you are mature enough to marry. From the little bit you have each written, in both of your posts, you both sound fairly unpleasant to be around, but you are definitely the harsher of the two. He's a whiner, and you are Attila the Hun. Both of you need to grow, just laying into him right now. Both of you need to grow up and learn what's actually important in life, how to grow together. Don't get married. Mature first. Mic drop.
Ooh, that is some
Phone
heat
drop.
coming from that last comment there. And honestly, heat I agree with. But I have a question. I mean, I think we can both agree that they are all the a-holes. But if it comes down to a decision between a bride or a groom, does the bride's opinion matter more?
In general, like in a wedding?
In general. Carol Castle says, I think Western weddings are too bride-centric, which I think
they are very bride-centric,
true.
I would say.
But I want to hear from y'all. So if you want to come on stage and give your opinion on what you think, and also if anyone has any horror stories about wedding planning too, I would love to hear those. So put your little tendrils into Riley's Discord and we'll bring you up on stage. But Riley, question for you. If your wife was like, I want you to wear these tuxedos because I think they will be most fashionable.
That one doesn't really work. But what are the other? List out the other options, anyways.
And basically wants to plan, like she wants to take over planning of your wedding. Would you let her?
Well, traditionally, from what I know, I could be very wrong. The person that pays for the majority of the wedding is the daughter's family. So I would say they have more of a say because they're paying for more of it. And of course, if she tells me to do something fashion-wise, I'm going to wear it. Duh. But yeah, that's what I think. But it is a compromise, and there should both be, both are people. You both have similar interests, hopefully, and you can have that in the wedding. But I do think it leans more in the bride's favor when it comes to that day.
Yeah, I think like we said a second ago, like Western American weddings are traditionally like more bride centric, and at the end of the day, it kind of depends on the couple. Maybe I'm sure there's couples where the guy is like, oh, I have these like specific ideas, and the bride is kind of like, I just want to have a fun day and get married, and I'm sure that happens.
I want to have a lit day. I want to paraglide from a plane with my wife onto a burning, flaming disc. I want my wedding to be weird. That's the goal. Oh, yeah. And everyone has to be naked.
I feel like generally speaking, I feel like both people probably have like a few like big picture items. For instance, me and my girlfriend have always talked about doing 2 weddings. One closer to her home country and then one in America, both for convenience of both families, for being able to like fully celebrate like both traditions and mix them in and have double the party.
I think that's a great idea, and that's what our parents did.
Yeah, well, they didn't have 2 weddings. Why am I blurry? There we go.
They
didn't have 2 weddings. They had a wedding, I believe, they had the wedding in America, and then they had the reception in Australia or something like that.
2 parties.
They had 2 parties for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they got married in America.
I think generally like a sign of a good couple is like both people probably bring things that they want to do to the table, and they kind of figure out a way to probably try to incorporate all of them as possible, unless they conflict. And then figuring out a way to make it work.
If she wants everyone to be clothed and I want everyone to be naked, everyone wears underwear. But you know what I want to strip down? One of you and your stories. So call us on the Discord. Sophia, who do we have? Spivvy Tiffy, we're bringing you up. All right. Let us do the voice call.
Spivvy Tiffy.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
I'm here now.
Hey.
There we go. So, Spiffy, you sent us to the Discord that you cater a lot of weddings. So, question for you. Do you think it's more of a bride decision or a groom decision, or is it ideally a mix of both? And what have you seen like work and not work and all that?
Well, normally like Riley was saying, it depends on who's paying for the wedding, who has kind of more of a say. And a lot of times that is the bride's family, but I've seen weddings where the bride and groom are the ones who are paying for the wedding because they don't want their parents to have anything to do with the wedding.
Yeah. Right. You don't want them taking control.
Yeah, because there's mother-in-law zillas as well as bridezillas and groomzillas.
True. Have you ever catered a wedding and you're like, these 2 people should just not be together?
No, but I've seen some interesting looking couples. Like you want to expect to see them together.
Like what?
Like a really, really, really tall guy and a really, really short girl. He had to like kneel down to kiss her. That was kind of funny.
Kneel?
On his hands and knees.
He just got down on one knee and like kissed her. I was like, wow.
So funny.
Long distance relationship at that point. And so
then I've seen some major gaps as well. Major age gaps.
Oh, like what's the biggest?
Like there was this one where there was like a really old woman marrying, like he looked like he was 19 and she looked like she was in her 60s. I don't know.
Whoa.
But they seemed happy.
That is crazy.
Wow.
So in the story that we were reading, do you think these people should still get married?
Well, I was kind of with John at first with, take them off the market, like let them go together. But I think they both need to work on themselves and like figure out what's really important in life, and that these things that they're fighting over just for the wedding, like that's setting a standard for the relationship in the future. So
and they're only going to hurt each other by forcing a marriage that obviously will not work. I agree. So pre-divorce and mature.
Yes.
All right.
I concur.
I concur. Spiffy Tiffy, thanks for calling in and giving your professional wedding caterer opinion. We appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you.
You're the best.
There's Spiffy.
Big shout out to Spiffy Tiffy,
Yeah.
one of our most sacred and incredible community members.
Yeah.
So
Shout out Spiffy. Great
Yes.
mod.
Absolutely.
You have seen her in the chat and on the Discord.
that's right.
But I think that's the end of that story. All right, let's do another one because we got a little bit of goof. So, am I the a-hole for declining being a bridesmaid because I can't handle wearing a dress?
Wear what you want.
Go nude. This
Yeah.
comes from Golden Bear, and they say, I, 36 female, was asked by my sister-in-law to be her bridesmaid. First off, let me say that I love and respect my sister-in-law. She is an amazing and kind person, and I'm so grateful to have her in my life. We are very close and get along 100% of the time with little to no disagreement about anything. She recently asked me if I would be one of her bridesmaids, and I asked her if I would have to wear a dress. She said yes, and I declined. I explained to her, I don't feel comfortable at all wearing dresses. Dresses make me feel exposed, almost like I'm naked. Even the thought of wearing a dress makes me feel nauseous and panicked. On top of that, I have really bad social anxiety and don't do well standing up in front of crowds.
I think like ultimately it's kind of like, hey, if you know, like think about it like this, because as a bridesmaid, you're standing up there, you're presenting flowers, you're doing all these things. It might make it more challenging for both OP and the bride organizing everything. It honestly might be better for everyone if OP just sits out, in all honesty.
Yeah.
OP definitely hasn't done anything wrong.
No.
Yeah.
It's really up to OP.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable in a dress, but if one of my best friends said, "Hey, I want you to be a part of my wedding party, but you have to wear a dress," I would.
Dude, I would
do
rock
it.
that.
I would rock that dress.
Put my hair in a bun.
Oh, dude,
Watch out.
John looked like the prettiest lady from the back. I was, especially after the CrossFit. I was a.
I'm not in CrossFit. I hate how this is becoming a new inside joke, and me saying that just cemented it too. So, F me.
I was Brian. Thanks, John says after CrossFit.
I did this to myself. I should know better. I should just shut up.
I was a bridesmaid for my sister about 14 years ago, where I had to wear a dress and stand in front of a lot of people, and it was nerve-wracking. The anxiety and feeling of being exposed and stared at was almost too much for me to bear. I told my sister-in-law about this, and she said, "You did that for your sister." I explained that the only reason I did was because my other sister declined to be a bridesmaid, and I felt obligated to, even though I was freaking out on the inside. I guess it's like, yes, this is uncomfortable, but do you want to do it for your friend?
I don't think that's a fair thing to put on OP. Like, OP's already expressed that she's not comfortable wearing a dress. I think at that point, if the bride really wants her to be in the wedding, she should accommodate for her.
Agree. I do agree with that. I just think if I was asked to wear a dress in a wedding, it's something I'm.
But it's totally different.
It's for like different reasons.
Yeah.
I think it's just I think this is a lose-lose scenario. Having either side try to get the other to acquiesce, right? Because for the bride is like, hey, this is my wedding. Like I want to be have dresses and have my bridesmaids wear dresses. Totally fair. OP is like, listen, I'm uncomfortable. It gives the litany of reasons that OP supplied. I don't think it would like make for a good experience for OP
Yeah.
or the bridal party as a whole. Don't force either to do either.
I understand OP being uncomfortable.
Well, it's not just uncomfortable. She said that she has extreme anxiety wearing it. Like she said she went through it, had extreme anxiety, was kind of freaking out all day.
I understand that. But what I think is, I think there's a solution that we could find that would kind of satiate both parties. And I think our beautiful OK fam found such a solution.
Oh.
Leggings.
Here's what I think. I think
wear pants underneath the dress.
I think the bride can go to OP and say, like, I was interested in maybe like sitting down and brainstorming ideas of ways that we could make you comfortable, and that would kind of fit with like the theme of the wedding and things of that nature. Are you down to like sit down and kind of brainstorm, or does that sound like it would interest you, or would you be open to that? I think if OP says no to that, then it's just not worth the hassle. But if, on the other hand, if OP says, yes, actually, let's come together, let's brainstorm, let's see if we can find a solution, and that is a solution that makes OP feel good, then great.
It sounds like OP is fine if she doesn't have to wear a dress. So it's just like, let's find a solution where you don't feel naked.
What I'm seeing is this could be a situation where it just might be not worth the diving down the rabbit hole for the bride to try to well, it could be. It totally could be. I think you.
But it also sounds like it's one of her best friends. It's like
which is fair. Like maybe she really was there. I think it's a great idea to ask her to come to the table, and if like that's something she'd be open to. And I think if OP responds enthusiastically, then like great, like come to the table, see if we can figure out. And maybe that's what happens.
So my sister-in-law has offered all kinds of bridesmaids attire ideas, like wearing leather jackets, but all the ideas she has are dresses, and I really don't feel comfortable at all wearing one. The only times I've ever worn a dress was when I was around the ages of 5 or 6 for a picture day at school prom, which I was forced to go to with my friend because my boyfriend felt bad for him not having a date to go with, and my sister's wedding.
Wait, she was around the ages of 5 to 6?
When she was picture day of school, then prom. It's like three separate situations.
Sorry.
For even more context, I'm not a girly girl, never have been. As a child, I played with Barbies, Batman, and Ninja Turtles, where most girls wanted to dress up as princesses for Halloween. I wanted to be Batman and Donatello. I've always had mostly guy friends because I just feel I can relate more to guys and girls. I've always had dude sense of humor, dark, fart, and dick jokes. I don't paint my nails and dress up in girly outfits. I rarely even wear makeup those days. I mostly wear t-shirts, leggings, and hoodies because I feel most comfortable in that. I know it's hard for my sister-in-law to understand because she is stunningly beautiful and wears dresses all the time, and she feels good wearing that kind of stuff. When I wear a dress, I just feel naked and anxious.
Oh, sorry. Really quick, I just wanted to point out Bean Beanington. This is what I'm thinking. They said, as a trans person, I smell dysphoria. This might be a person who is trans or like going through that realization, and that's why they don't want to wear a dress because it makes them dysphoric.
Potentially.
But this is a potential. This is not, we don't know anything about the story, but just based off that, it sounds like that could be a possibility.
But I feel like we don't have enough context to really.
Well, also I could see they're like often in these stories there's like a big plot twist that we didn't see coming, and maybe that's in the end.
I know her wedding day is her day and it's not about me, and I feel really bad for declining her offer to be her bridesmaid. At the same time, I don't feel like I should have to put myself in a position that makes me feel exposed and on the verge of tears and vomiting. Am I the a-hole? And there is an edit and some relevant comments. And the edit is juicy. It's thick.
Ooh.
But John, what do you think? Is OP the a-hole?
No, I don't think OP is the a-hole. I feel like at this point, it seemed like kind of at the beginning of the most recent part we read, that was their kind of like coming to the table, and she's like, oh, I have like 5 or 6. I have a few like dress ideas, but I do want like of all of the options I have, I do want every single one of them to have all of the bridesmaids and dresses. And then OP was like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. It kind of seems like they had their come to the table moment. I just don't know if it's the juice is worth the squeeze here.
Yeah. I mean,
at this point,
I definitely don't think OP is an a-hole.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's like she's dealing with social anxiety. It's it's hard for her to be even in front of people. I don't feel like there's been, if it's truly about the dress, I don't feel like there's been enough exploration of other options to make OP uncomfortable. But if it's not actually about the dress and it's about something else, then we should express that. If it's actually not about the dress, it's more about the social anxiety and like the fact that she feels like she like is going to throw up, and she's going to throw up just because she's in front of people, not because she's in front of people with the dress. Like, I think that could be a different scenario, but I feel like there should be more exploration of other options if it's truly about the dress.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from the bride's perspective. The bride still has the entire wedding to plan.
If I was the person having the wedding, I wouldn't be mad, but I would be sad. If one of my best friends said no to being in my wedding party because they didn't want to wear something, I would like do everything in my ability to make them comfortable while also like fitting as much with whatever theme is being chosen.
Yeah, I think on a friend level, that's
not the a-hole, but I just wish there was more. But
I don't know.
There is an edit.
All right.
So this is only my second Reddit post ever, so I'm not really sure how to update in order to try to answer everyone's questions. Let me just say first and foremost, I am a straight woman. I am not confused about my gender. I'm just not a feminine woman. I lean more masculine, not to the point where I get mistaken for a man, but I have had quite a few lesbian women approach me thinking I was a lesbian based on how I look and carry myself. For my own wedding, I was horrified of the idea of having to be in front of a bunch of people and wear a dress, so my husband and I opted to get married by a justice of the peace in a backyard with 2 witnesses. I wore gray skinny jeans, men's Vans high-top sneakers, and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hoodie and makeup.
Riley likes that.
I love Teenage Mutant Ninja
I wasn't ready for that.
I do have problems with my anxiety. I have my whole life. I am not trying to overuse that word or use it as a cop-out. It's literally been a lifelong struggle for me. Some things are worse than others for me, wearing a dress being one of them. I feel about as uncomfortable as my husband would wearing a dress. It's not something that feels right to me, and for the few times I have worn dresses in my life, it was never a choice. I've seen a therapist in the past and I loved it. It actually helped a lot because I used to let my anxiety turn into anger, which I no longer do. The anxiety of wearing a dress and standing in front of a crowd doesn't affect my daily life because I choose to not wear dresses and stand in front of crowds. These things are not things I feel that I need to do in my life, so I avoid them. My sister-in-law is well aware of the kind of woman I am, and she knew asking me to wear a dress was more than likely going to be a no, but she did ask me because she wants to include me. I get that, and I love her for it. I just know if I wore a dress at her wedding, I would be having some really bad anxiety issues, and I don't want my issues to get in the way of her having a nice wedding because wedding days can be very stressful, especially for the bride. I did tell her if she really wants me as a bridesmaid, I would be much more comfortable in a suit or dress pants and a dress shirt, but she said she wants bridesmaid dresses, which is fine, and I don't expect her to change her vision for me because it's not my day, which is fine.
I think the further context of their exchange, like it is highly possible that actually the bride knew going into the conversation that she was going to say no, but is like, I need to make sure I at least give her the option just to let her know I love her and I do want to make her feel included to the most extent I can.
And honestly, that one sentence makes me feel better about the whole situation because both are like, hey, don't worry about it. I totally get it. And I think that is a sign of people that know themselves and know the other party.
Yeah. Totally.
So
good additional context.
That is great additional context. Yes. I feel much better about it now. That's why I declined her offer to be a bridesmaid. She has since continued to try to get me to agree to wear a dress, and I have continued to tell her it makes me uncomfortable. She hasn't been mean about it or anything. She's just very set on it. I have offered to make her a bouquet and help decorate her wedding, and I'm most definitely going to be attending as a guest. I'm more than likely just going to buy some black slacks, a simple dress top, and some black dress shoes to wear to her wedding. Still formal, just not super feminine. Also, the last few paragraphs were just to describe my personality for reference. I'm not really good at writing and my wording sucks. I just don't think I'm special by any means. I'm not someone that likes to draw attention to myself. Quite the opposite. I like to disappear in the background. Even at family gatherings, I tend to duck off by myself or by my husband. I just feel more comfortable that way. My husband's family are amazing, caring people. It took me a long time to get comfortable around them, but when I did, it felt so good. They actually opened my eyes to what a loving, supportive family looks like. They also know I struggle with anxiety and self-worth, and they love me through it. I'm so grateful to them for that. I guess that's why I also feel guilty for having the struggle. And there is one relevant comment to close it out. SW Barnes 2 says, I guess the first question is this anxiety stopping you from doing something you really want to do? If it is, then you should seek therapy to give you the tools to be able to do what you want. But if you are thinking, ugh, I really don't want to do this, and even if therapy made me able to do it, I still wouldn't want to, then just decline. I think like the general piece of advice is you can set your own boundaries and do what you want, and people should respect that.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think the other thing is if you have crippling anxiety, take steps to make the world a easier place to navigate so you can do anything that you want to do.
Yeah. I do think OP did make a point on like I think OP was like, hey, I did work with this with a therapist. I did open up to my husband's family, which is like signs of growth on the social anxiety that she would need, like kind of, it just happens in everyday life. It's like hard to avoid. And then she was like on the dress and standing in front of people specifically. Those are two specific things that like I don't deem as like really necessary. And like the same way if someone was like really terrified of like going really fast in a car, for example, you could be like, hey, I could do this challenge of like, I'm going to conquer my fear. I'm going to go to on a racetrack. I'm going to learn and like conquer this fear as like a challenge or like overcoming something, which is great. Or you could be like, there is literally no reason for me to go 175 miles per hour in a car.
If I want to be safe.
There's literally no reason for it and you don't need it in your everyday life. So if not, then that's fine too. I thought that was also a good distinction, and also OP mentioning like, hey, there are other areas where I've like grown and like with good people in therapy
which is great. But what do you think about OP dipping out of the wedding for this reason, for not wanting to wear a dress? Is there anything you think OP should have done differently? Is there anything that you think that the bride-to-be should do differently? Let us know in the comments below. But with that, if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you,
and see you tomorrow.